Welcome back to the international talk show, Briggs on Books. We've been talking to authors all over the world today, Scotland, India, Paris, and Canada, and a few from the United States of America as well. We talk to authors, we talk to people who help authors get their books published, help authors get focused and make their books make sense. So author services, we should call it. But my favorite part of the show and my favorite type of interview is when we actually talk to somebody who did it. They wrote the book, they put their pencil down, and they got it published, as is our next guest, WBJ Williams. Welcome, WBJ Williams.
Thank you.
Why such
to meet you.
Why such a long name?
My name is Walt Williams, but there's another Walt Williams, Walter John Williams, who also writes science fiction and fantasy. He's very brilliant, very well known. And when I started to write in science fiction and fantasy, I did not want to get people confused when they looked at my fiction and thought it was written by him and vice versa. So I published under my initials, WBJ Williams.
Nice. By the way, look at this, 5 books. I've got the covers of 5 books up there, and congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Now, some are novels, but is one of them about security and something about the internet? Tell us about that.
I have a day job, and in my day job, I'm an information security executive with about a quarter century of experience and 10 years prior experience doing information technology. Mm-hmm. So I was approached by CRC Press about 11 years ago to write a book version of an article that I pushed out through the Information Security Management Handbook. That became Security for Service-Oriented Architectures. It's fairly well regarded, a nice way to fall asleep if you're having trouble falling asleep at night. A little out of date at this point, but at the time it was a pretty decent reference book for how to do security for service-oriented architecture. And if you know anything about the internet, it's one giant service-oriented architecture.
Yep.
Now, the other one, about the time when COVID first became a thing, CRC Press reached back out to me and said, would you like to do another book? Mm. And I took a look at the books out there. There was nothing that attempted to look at information security on a comprehensive basis. So I decided to write how to create an information security program from scratch. Just add some water, stir, and you'll get a security program that's operational if you follow the recipe in the 300-page book. And it was one of 2 COVID projects. It came out exactly the same day as my other COVID project, The Reality, Mythology, and Fantasies of Unicorns. 2 completely different topics, but I had fun writing both of them. I flatter myself that they're both very useful and very comprehensive for the fields.
I'm just, as you're talking, I'm putting these beautiful covers up. The unicorns especially, is just really striking.
Yeah, that's with Dragonell Publishing. They're the publishing house that published my first novel, The Garden at the Roof of the World. And they wanted the cover to reflect the same style as The Garden at the Roof of the World. It's a bit of nonfiction that started out as the research for The Garden at the Roof of the World. And it turns out that unicorns are real. They lived about 15,000 years ago. They're a very large beastie called the Lasmoserium, where the horn grows from the forehead, not from the nose, like they're near relatives to rhinoceros. They're about the size of a mastodon, and they lived across Europe and Asia. We have one drawing from life that was found in a cave in France. It was drawn about 13 to 15,000 years ago. The striking thing is that if you look at the ancient Persian and the ancient Greek descriptions of what a unicorn looked like, they're talking about it in the Lasmoserium. And so it's entirely possible, though of course here I'm wildly speculating, that the Lasmoserium survived a lot longer than we have fossil evidence for it. Certainly that cave drawing is twice as young as anything that we have from the fossil record. So who knows? We found all sorts of critters we thought were extinct or survived much longer than we thought. By further looking in the material record, we may yet find the Lasmoserium from much closer in our history than we think.
Well, it is the national animal of Scotland, so got to be real.
Absolutely.
By the way, I didn't mean to brush over those books, the technical manuals you wrote, the technical books. There had to be an awful lot of work, and I just kind of passed over them to the unicorn, so sorry about that.
No, it's fine. The information security books were a lot of work. Each of them took a year to write. And I had them fact-checked to make certain that I got all the technology correct. And they've both gotten good reviews from people who are very critical about the information security genre, and hopefully have helped a lot of people in their implementation of information security. I'm very proud of them both. And it's been a distinct honor that I was asked to write the second one.
Yeah, that's an honor. Yes, definitely. Now, is this your latest book, the Johnny Talon?
Yes, I actually have a physical copy of it right here. I started writing this after I came across a painting in the Museum of Fine Arts here in Boston that it had a story to it, and I wanted to discover that story. But it was a surreal painting by the Belgian surrealist Paul de Waal. And I'm probably mispronouncing his name. I don't speak French or any of the other languages commonly spoken in Belgium very well.
Yeah.
And it was a very striking image and very evocative. And I had a lot of fun with it. Since I was dealing with a surreal painting, I wrote the book to be a very surreal book. But I wanted it to be fun, not horrific. Too much of what we do with surreal images brings us into the horror of existence. But there's a lot of joy in existence to be found by exploring what is surreal and what is weird. And I wanted to go in that direction instead. And so Johnny Talon is a surreal detective. He solves cases using dream quests and following non sequiturs, and he never quite knows where it's leading him, but his goal is to find the truth, not necessarily to solve the case. And had a lot of fun writing it.
I bet. It sounds fun. Now, who will read that book? What's your genre? Surrealism? I don't know.
The genre is loosely fantasy. If you want to tighten it up a bit more, you could describe it as magical realism or as paranormal. You could say noir paranormal or noir magical realism. Of course, it's got an element of the old noir detective fiction, such as Ray Chandler or Dashiell Hammett. And it's so anyone who delights in mysteries, anyone who delights in fantasy, magical realism, paranormal, they'll all enjoy it.
Sounds like it's written for a lot of people. I know I'm going to read it because I love those genres. Let me ask you this, Walter. Your website, we have it on the screen there, WBJ-Williams.net. What will our viewers find there?
It was started out as an attempt to give people some of the research and backstory that went into the garden at the roof of the world, and has since taken on a bit of a marketing bent to it. But on it, you'll find references to my blog, you'll find links to my Facebook, my Twitter, my Blue Sky, my Threads, my Instagram accounts. So you'll be able to follow me wherever I happen to sit on social media. You can even sign up for my newsletter. Wow. The first edition of the newsletter is going out February 21st, the same day the book's available for purchase, and is an in-depth look at what went into making this book a book.
That is great. I love that kind of accessibility of an author and being able to look at them and try to figure them out. And how in the world did you come up with these ideas to write these books? And I hope your website helps us see that. WBJ Williams, by the way, you kind of mentioned where you are. You're in Boston?
Just outside of Boston, a small town called Sharon. I like to refer to it as close to we'll get to paradise on earth.
That's nice. Don't tell everybody they'll all go there.
Yeah, you can drink the water out of the ground. You can swim in the lake in the center of town. The fish are curious. We have a large nature preserve, the earliest Audubon preserve in the nation. Wow. We have a lovely state park where I like to wander. And I'm always taking pictures from my wanderings in the woods and posting them up on Instagram with, I'm still looking for a unicorn, but here's something beautiful. So I have fun with it.
That is fun. You're a fun person, WBJ Williams, Walter Williams. We're really up against our time crunch. Anything else you want our viewers to know?
The book gets published on February 21st, but it's available for pre-order now on your favorite bookstore. You can find it on Apple or Amazon or Barnes & Noble, wherever books are sold. And it's a real fun read. It has a serious subject behind it. If you're a fan of mythology, it's a retelling of the ancient Sumerian myth of Inanna's descent into the underworld. And so there's something serious underneath all the fun and underneath all the adventure. And I hope that you'll check it out. It's a wild romp.
I know we're over time, but I don't get such a fascinating person like you on the show this often. The book, Johnny Talon and the Goddess of Love and War. Can you tell me when you started writing that and when you finally put your pencil down?
I started writing it, I want to say 2017, 2018. Okay. And I put down the pencil in 2020 and started to try to find a publisher for it.
And then, so from around 2020 to next month, you've been working on getting it out there. And it's out there. Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Listen, I really appreciate your time, and you're fascinating. The depth or width of your work, from technical things to fantasy, I really appreciate that you have that great ability to do all that. And we want you to come back again, WBJ Williams.
I'd be delighted. Thanks for having me on my show, and a pleasure to meet you.
All right, and we'll be back with more authors right after this.